Good afternoon, everyone. You've arrived at the pinnacle show of Channel 2, the Beyond the Forecast, our weekly look at our mercurial climate, our interesting weather display here that we have on a day-to-day basis, and of course we talk about the forecast moving forward. A little bit of haze out there. You were on the roof. You said it looks fine, but there's maybe a little haze.
Yeah, around the horizon, it looks like there's a bit of a haze, but if you look directly up, which is hard to do because it's actually very bright out, you do see the blue sky, so the cameras make it look a lot worse than it is.
But Uncle Hammer says don't look at the sun.
I did not look at the sun.
Don't look at the sun.
It was the blue sky, which I have talked extensively about why it's blue.
And by the way, that was such a thing during the eclipse back in 2024 when, I mean, that's what you were so tempted to do. But anyway, we're going to talk about the forecast coming up. We're going to look at some hurricane activity out in the Pacific. And do you live on an island? If you don't, maybe you do and you didn't realize it, an actual urban heat island.
Oh yeah, those fun wordplay, what you did there, very impressive.
I came with that because I once did a live shot in Minneapolis.
Okay.
And it was like 25 below zero in the middle of the day. So I was like, okay, what can I use to like tell my story? So I was downtown. I ran into a bookstore, and there was this magazine called like Tropical Islands. So I grabbed it, and I'm like, islands, do you live on an island? Well, we live in an urban heat island, but it doesn't apply today. That was the idea. Anyway, Lauren's going to talk about why cities are often a little warmer, especially at night. It's a kind of an interesting thing that really has become more of a thing as our society has grown more towards cities and they've expanded. Their footprint is larger. So anyway, more on that coming up. Okay, we're going to talk about our weather pattern, which looks quiet today. But one of the better days of the week because the weather takes a turn certainly tonight. And then for about 2 days, we have a 2-day stretch where it gets a little unsettled around here. Not very common to have that in the summer. Usually when we have rain in the summer, we often do, it comes from spotty thunderstorms or clusters of thunderstorms, not a slow moving low. And that'll be the case in the days ahead. So here we go this afternoon, but notice tonight, we do bring in some showers, maybe as early as this evening, but overnight tonight and into tomorrow morning early. That's when the rain begins to ramp up. All right, current numbers are in the 70s, getting close to 80 degrees already. We're likely going to get into the low 80s by this afternoon, so a little warmer than yesterday. A little bit of haze out there, warm and partly cloudy, we'll call it today. And tomorrow, and actually through Wednesday, kind of damp with periods of rain showers all the way through the middle of the week. And then looking in the long range, the rain ends Thursday, and it looks like a nice entrance into a new month, which is Saturday, August 1st. It looks like Thursday, Friday, Saturday look pretty good. Sunday, though, may get a couple of showers around. More on that in the extended forecast. All right, rainfall chances. Late afternoon, after about 6:30, 7 p.m., maybe a little shower pops up or heads our way and kind of falls apart. But the rain really ramps up tomorrow. And this 60% on Wednesday should probably go up a tick because there will be showers on Wednesday. And then Thursday morning, the showers should come to an end. And here we are. We're watching, again, pretty dry conditions, a little bit of haze. I'm noticing this cluster of thunderstorms now. Let's pan out a little bit. There they are. Crossing Lake Huron. Ooh, those are packing a punch. So we'll watch those. Also, heavy rain in Milwaukee, and that's extending down to Chicago. But this is a cluster of thunderstorms that we need to keep our eye on because timing it would actually potentially put them here this evening. If they make it, they'll probably fizzle a little bit, but then certainly more overnight. All right, we now take you to the Eastern Pacific. Here's Mexico. This is Genevieve, which is on the cusp of being a Category 5 hurricane. I'm showing it to you because it's so strong. The good news is it's just going to be churning up some marlin out here. That's about it. It's out at sea, except if you're on one of these little islands. Look at that one. I don't know which one that is. There's a, how did you, my producer, who's clearly a scholar of marine geography, says that there's a Mexican Air Force Base, is that what he said? Or Naval Base? East LeClarion, okay? I gotta believe an island that has dealt with strong hurricanes in its past many times, but 6 people live there, and hopefully they have a safe place to go because the track, 9 people live there, and the track will take it just to the south of that island. Genevieve has got winds at 155 miles an hour, which is kind of officially the threshold between a Cat 4 and a Cat 5. So it goes up a mile per hour. It's a Cat 5. And there's Fausto, which is a weakening hurricane moving north of Hawaii. But I got to tell you, as a former resident of Hawaii, the surf on the south shores of these islands must be epic. All right, great wave making. The big waves that you tend to see on all the magazines, the big surf in Hawaii, that's on the North Shore. And those occur in the wintertime from Pacific storms up north. The southern swell in Hawaii, by the way, comes from tropical systems to the south, including hurricanes. So the waves have to be massive in Hawaii. Okay, we take things back here. And what we're watching is an area of low pressure that's going to form basically right overhead. It looks like tonight and tomorrow. Okay, so all of this unorganized rainfall will kind of organize a bit. And as low pressure sets up over us and then tracks to the east slowly, we're going to see some showers out ahead of the low, but more importantly, behind it as it pushes east, wraparound showers. We talk about this all the time in the winter months, but wraparound showers will be around tomorrow and Wednesday, which is why this is a little unusual to have a low like this and then kind of strengthening out in the Atlantic. Makes for, again, prolonged rain chances. It doesn't rain the whole time, but still, there are shower chances, it looks like, through Wednesday night as this slows. Look at that, finally pushes away by Thursday. So here's a closer look. Now remember, there's that cluster of storms I was just showing you, and here they come, and it looks like they kind of fizzle a bit, but by this evening, there could be 1 or 2 of these showers that make it into western New York. We'll see. I believe there's a better chance of heavier rain coming in tonight, okay? One of the things, I'm going to do something really quick. I just noticed something. Doesn't mean it's going to happen exactly where this is showing, but see that right there? That's a signal of what we call back building, okay? Where notice, okay, let's go Eden, okay? See East Aurora. Watch that storm move through Eden. One comes in right behind it, and then maybe another one right behind it, okay? So what does that mean? That means with this overnight rain, there's the potential of heavy rain in 1 or 2 places that lasts a while, which is why flash flooding can't be ruled out tonight, okay? Doesn't mean it's going to happen in Eden necessarily. It could, but it shows you the signs that we could see that kind of a situation develop. And then that heavy rain kind of moves through towards sunrise, maybe tapering down a little bit, but then that low pushes east. Future look isn't too terribly excited by a lot of rain tomorrow, but I do believe throughout the day there is a pretty good chance of showers and maybe even a thunder shower tomorrow. And then again on Wednesday. By the way, the rain could be heavy, but in an isolated spot it could be severe. Strong storms could occur overnight tonight. But again, the timing of this will keep the severe chance a little lower. Had it not come through earlier, then the severe chance would have been a lot higher here, but not to be. But there's still a chance of a severe storm overnight. Tuesday, showers continuing, and then notice on Wednesday, wraparound showers. That other guidance has much farther west than what this is showing. So we'll have to watch that, but you can clearly see we're in the clouds and some showers on Wednesday. If this low were to be farther to the east in the Atlantic, that would pull the rain away a little more quickly. But for now, we got to go with the chance of showers Wednesday as well before coming to an end on Thursday. And rain amounts rather, on the healthy side, 1 to 2 inches of rain possible. And this is on top of a pretty dry western New York. Of course, the heaviest rain may very well be where the rain has been a little heavier this spring or summer season, especially in July across the Niagara frontier. But areas south of the Thruway have had very little rain this month. So this is kind of some needed rain. High temperatures today, getting back into the low 80s. And tomorrow, because of some of the cloud cover and the rain cool there, we'll see temperatures fall into the 70s. By the way, and that icon should have showed rain. It's going to rain tomorrow. Humidity levels up a little bit because of the rain as we head towards the day tomorrow. Looking in the long range, there are signs of a warmer weather pattern, by the way. Finally, it looks like as we head into... Oh, let's go to the 7-day. Can we take the 7-day full, possibly? Anyway, what you'll see, there we go. Beautiful. We have rain showers Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, Friday look dry, Saturday as well, and then a shower chance possibly on Sunday. Lauren, do you agree?
I do agree.
You agree?
Yes.
We're on this. A weather team likes to agree.
No, I think it's tough because you see those shower chances on Tuesday and Wednesday, and it looks like it's a complete washout the whole day.
Right.
But most of that rainfall is early on Tuesday, and then it's just those rounds with like potential isolated
Exactly.
showers.
Hard to pinpoint exactly where, but
Yeah.
it could get wet at times.
Yes.
Yes. All right, urban heat island. Do you want to go there? It sounds lovely. Lauren's going to talk about what the heck an urban heat island is and how it's important in our weather forecasting.
Oh, hello, welcome back. I'll just start right here. Okay, so I decided to talk about the urban heat island effect because there are so many portions of our country that are under heat alerts right now. We have the extreme heat warnings across much of the central portion of the country, heat advisories on the fringe of those warnings. So that's when you start to see those feels like temperatures, the air temperatures and the dew points kind of combine to give you some pretty dangerous feels like temperatures. And when you take a look at those temperatures right now, we're already seeing a lot of 90s. It's still pretty early in the day, especially for those in that central and mountain time zones. So they still have a lot of warming left to go. But where you live, not just necessarily where across the country you live, but what kind of setting you live in can impact exactly how warm your weather is. That's why you kind of can get some microclimates, not just from geographic features, but man-made features as well. So that's why I kind of wanted to talk about the urban heat island effect. This is just a very rudimentary idea of different locations. And basically, the idea is that very comparable locations that should be seeing the same kind of weather can see different temperatures when it comes to different environments. So if you have an urban area compared to a more rural area that's less built up, that is typically going to be cooler than the urban area where they'll see those warmer temperatures. So there are a couple factors that go into creating the urban heat island effect. That's also, just to clarify, it's a term. It doesn't have to be an island like Manhattan is an island, but it's really just the way an urban area can be kind of isolated in this effect like an island. So a key factor that goes into this is albedo. What is albedo? Albedo is the reflectiveness of a given surface. When the albedo is very high, like something like fresh snow where it is white, it reflects a lot of sunlight, so it tends to stay quite cool. Compared to pavement, which is black, it absorbs a lot of that heat. It has very low albedo, so it tends to warm up very quickly. So when you have something that is darker, it absorbs more of the visible light spectrum that gets converted into heat, compared to white, which is all the colors combined. It reflects off all of it. So that's why white, like snow or just anything that happens to be white, will not absorb as much heat. So kind of to give that comparison, in a more rural area, maybe you'll have more grass, more trees. Yes, it will absorb some of that. Obviously, this isn't a perfectly white reflective surface that would be reflecting almost all of that sunlight, but it does reflect a good amount of it while absorbing some of it. Compared to dark pavement or concrete like you get in cities, it absorbs pretty much all of that sunlight and converts it into heat. So those urban areas do get really warm. Now, another big key factor is vegetation. Typically a city, you don't have as much vegetation, but it does so much with respect to how the temperatures can feel outside. And I think this photo from NASA and USGS does a really good job of illustrating this. So this one with the green, so this is New York City, the 5 boroughs. The lighter greens show the areas that don't have a lot of vegetation, whereas those darker shades of green are those areas where you do have some grass, some tree cover. One of the easiest places to spot is Central Park with those darker greens. Now, this map next to it is how warm it is comparatively. So those darker purples are going to be cooler, whereas those lighter purples and even those yellows, that's with it being warmer. And you notice it's kind of a one-to-one. The areas with more vegetation tend to be cooler. Again, your eye can kind of go to Central Park. You see that's where you have those darker shades of purple because it is cooler there because they have more vegetation. But why? Why does vegetation make such a difference? Well, yes, obviously the green, like I showed, doesn't absorb as much of that heat as the pavement, but there's also something that grass and trees do called evapotranspiration. So evaporation is when water evaporates into the air, but in order to do that, it has to overcome the intermolecular forces, which I got into a little bit when I was talking about sweat. That's how sweat cools us down. It takes the heat, that energy from our bodies in order to evaporate. Well, it's taking a lot of that heat from the air in order for that water to evaporate anything that's coming from the grass. And then transpiration is kind of like how trees sweat in their own way, but they're not necessarily cooling down. They're just getting rid of excess water out of their stomata, which are kind of their equivalent of pores. But that water then transpires into the air, also converting into a gas. So it does cool the area around it. Grassy areas are going to be naturally cooler because some of the heat that would normally be surrounding you has been given to allowing that water to evaporate, thus making for a more comfortable feel. So another key factor that comes to that is infrastructure. Obviously, there is a big difference in how rural areas versus suburban areas versus cities are structured. And a key aspect of cities is that they tend to have tall buildings, and this can do a couple things. One of the big ones is that it is going to block wind, especially in the summer when the humidity is high, those temperatures are high. You want the air moving because that helps to cool us down a bit. When we talk a lot about the wind chill in the winter, it's because the wind blows off that insulating layer of warmth that our bodies naturally create around us, making us cooler. Well, wind still does the same thing in the summer, except it feels refreshing. But if you're not getting that wind, if that air is really not moving around you, it just feels like it's sticking on you all the more, and it becomes a lot more uncomfortable. So you're not getting that wind when you have a lot of those tall buildings in an urban area. Now, worth noting, there are some urban areas or some parts of urban areas where it's structured just right, where you can actually feel like you're in a bit of a wind tunnel, so you can get stronger winds. These aspects can vary depending on how that city is built up. Also worth noting, with a lot of tall buildings, that can provide shade, which can provide some isolated, cooler areas. And then there is also, I had one more aspect of this that I was going to bring up with the wind, the shade, with the buildings. Oh, and also just the idea of anthropogenic heating. So man-made pollution can tend to produce some greenhouse gases that make areas warmer. When you're in a rural area, you don't have as much of those man-made influences as you would in an urban area. So when it's really hot, a lot of people are running their air conditioners. Factories are working. It actually produces more heat in that area, so that really increases the temperatures as well in urban zones. Now, this can also kind of work in the favor depending on your perspective in the winter, whereas urban areas do hold on to heat a lot more, so they're not going to cool down as much overnight or in the winter. So when we're looking for freezing temperatures, typically it takes cities a lot longer to hit freezing or hit those colder temperatures compared to areas that are less built up, because just like that pavement absorbs so much of that heat when it's overnight, it will eventually give off that heat, which allows the air around that city to actually be a little bit warmer. Of course, then there are always so many other factors to consider when it comes to the microclimates of specific cities. Of course, Buffalo, I think, is a great example because of the lake. Typically, when we're going to be seeing warmer temperatures, it's because we have a southwest wind. But when we have the southwest wind, the water is coming off of the lake. So that's why this is a Dan Russell fact, so I do trust it. We've never hit 100 degrees in Buffalo.
No, we've gotten to 98 a couple times, and then 99 we hit. What was it? Was it in 2020? I think we might have.
It may have been when you had that long stretch of.
Yeah, but it's crazy. And by the way, it's the only. There's two other cities that have never hit 100. Honolulu, and it used to be Tampa Bay. But I know you would think Florida, but it's so humid, it's hard to get 100.
That is true.
But Tampa Bay did get there, so I believe it's Honolulu, Boston. And it might be Anchorage, but Anchorage might have even gotten to 100. Anyway, bottom line is Buffalo is in rare air with that fact.
There you go. So that is kind of just a brief summary of the urban heat island effect. We'll be back with more Beyond the Forecast after this.
All right, welcome back. July has been a warm July for us. It certainly started off that way. Interestingly, though, we have not hit 90 yet.
No, we have not. It was a very warm, especially the start of the month.
Yeah,
late June and early July, we had those days with those feels like temperatures getting into the mid-90s. Yeah.
So right around. So that was
July.
Was that right before then the 4th when we had those 103, 104? Yeah. But we did not hit 90. We've hit 90 once. On average, we should have gotten there maybe twice. We, on average, get 3 90-degree days a year. Sometimes it's a lot more. I think a couple of years have not had a 90, but we've only had one. But notice we did have that week of the 19th where it kind of cooled down last week.
Yeah, it was a big change because we had those above average temperatures for so long. Things really flipped last week, and it was kind of nice with the lower humidity. It felt more like late spring, which is what I really love. I
do too. I don't know about you. The heat doesn't work with me. So this was a good week weather-wise. Now, what about rain? It has been incredibly dry. We've had some heavy rain in Niagara Falls in those areas, but Buffalo, one day, pretty much.
Really just the one day.
So imagine if we didn't get rain these last few days of the month. By the way, it would not be a top 10 dry month. I just checked.
You mentioned.
But still, thank goodness we're going to get a little bit to get us closer to normal this week in the next couple days. We'll be back on Friday. See you then.